So, DC operations benchmarking. What's all that about, John?
Well, Rob, what it's about is it's an exciting tool that Logistics Bureau have to look at benchmarking warehouses or DCs, so specifically for your warehouse. So if you're wondering about benchmarking, benchmarking is a standard or point of reference against which things can be compared. And what we have is some software where we can build a model. So I've got the next slide here, which just talks about what we're trying to do is build a method study. And in this model, we want to be able to do things faster, easier, cheaper, safer. So building a model where we understand how long various processes take within a warehouse, which are typically your receiving, your put away, your replenishment, your picking, and your dispatch. So in a warehouse, typically the spend across a warehouse is 20% capital, 30% for the footprint, and 50% is labour. And so that is the biggest bucket. And when we focus in on labour, it's made up of those various processes of receiving, put away, shipping and picking, where picking is the largest piece there at 50%. And then within picking, the biggest single piece is travel at 55% versus the others of searching, handling, checking, and so on. So travel is often an area that, within a warehouse, many warehouse operators don't think about a lot, but it's actually their biggest cost, and it's probably the biggest low-hanging fruit. So travel we define as broken up into two parts: direct travel, which is from, say, your dispatch area to the storage medium, and then within the storage medium, we call that preambulation. It's a big word.
So for anyone watching this, I mean, this is somebody traveling around the warehouse unnecessarily, trying to sort of find product to pick it. Not find it, but the product's spread out and they're traveling too much around the warehouse.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said it was unnecessary
No,
travel,
not necessarily,
but unless you think about it, and this probably leads to some of the remedies you can do once you've used this benchmark software, is you could identify maybe product slotting is an opportunity, and product slotting very quickly is like putting those products that you pick the most in a shift closer to what I call the center of gravity, or usually the dispatch or a wrapper area within the warehouse. And so by doing that, you're actually reducing the amount of travel. Probably not the travel direct, but the preambulation, certainly you're reducing that. And what is interesting when you look at those two types of travel is travel direct is probably a faster type of travel. Once you actually are in the storage medium and picking product, you're typically going a lot slower. So, we're 1 to 2 kilometres an hour versus maybe on travel direct, maybe 5 or 6 kilometres an hour. So it's where the time is spent. In the end, what this model is trying to develop are effectively a engineered labour standard. So rather than by software within a warehouse management system, and this tries to replicate the models of labour within the warehouse.
So what are the benefits of taking this approach? We're comparing against industry standards?
So there are standards that you are comparing, but it's a bit like a game of golf. I mean, whilst you can compare against how others play the game of golf, often you are also comparing how you play the game of golf. So what's your score? So, the various uses here is, maximising your warehouse facility, getting more out of your space, reducing travel in the warehouse, looking at predicting labour requirements. So once this model is built, you can use it to say, well, what if my sales go up next week? I mean, the number of businesses at the moment with COVID-19 that have said their e-commerce business has skyrocketed, but the rest of their normal wholesale retail business is flat or declined. So you can use this type of tool to say, well, how many people do I need? Which is quite an interesting way of using the tool. Number of companies that use this tool, they also use it for the ABC cost analysis, maybe for a 3PL costing up new business. So it's got a lot of different uses. As I say, on the benefit side, it's, you want to do the what if analysis, which might be, what if I do product slotting? You can use it for that. Can you predict your labour and continuous improvement? So it's a great tool that can help you actually improve your warehouse operations.
Sounds great. I reckon we need to run a webinar on this. How about that?
I would say so. Rob, I've got one case study I think I'm just going to take you through.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Well, so that's what the screen looks like, but I think we're just going to do a short presentation with the actual software.
Yeah.
But basically, there's 5 separate databases where you put in information about your DC, so you characterize it, and then here's a short case study. So we ran this model within a warehouse actually in Southeast Asia, and we had a look at opportunities around mobile equipment. They used a lot of, particularly in Southeast Asia, they do use a lot of manual pallet jacks. Of course, they operate at a much slower speed than using equipment. Well, we could model that using different types of equipment, and we can show you that. We modeled picking. So again, if we talked about picking earlier, but if you can place the product in the best location to minimize travel, you can save time there. And then finally, we've got reconfiguring product with tie high, cases per layer, layers per cases. So with all of these, we ended up with a 24% saving in the direct labor within this business. Impressive. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah. So
that's awesome. Anyway, okay, we're definitely going to run a webinar on this, and maybe in the meantime, if anyone's interested in trying to improve their warehouse operations and better utilize their labor, better get in touch with John.
Fantastic, Rob. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, John.